Hi friends, welcome back to Magic Acre. Today we're making Lonacs. It's something that I grew up eating. My kids like it. If you like cabbage or your kids like cabbage, you're going to love it. So first I just needed half a head of just that hard cabbage. I used half a head. I cut it up into little cubes, not little cubes, probably like 1 inch, 2 inch cubes. And then I lined the bottom of a large stock pot with the cabbage. I also did cut up 5 potatoes and then I cubed them as you can see. I'm going to throw half of the potatoes on top of the cabbage. In here I have a carrot, celery, 1 stalk of celery, 1 large onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and I also threw in a handful of fresh parsley. You mix that around. This goes kind of like lasagna, so we're going to do layers all the way up until the top, and then we're going to let it cook for hours until the cabbage is really nice and soft and just absolutely delicious. So we're going to sprinkle half of this mixture at the bottom on top of our potatoes. And once you have sprinkled about half, like I said, onto your potatoes, we're going to grab some Ajvar. Ajvar, Ajvar. I buy it at my local Loblaws. Basic Food sells it. A lot of groceries in Canada sell it. If you're not Canadian or you're not from Canada, check your local grocery stores. Sometimes those things that we don't really look for, they've been there the whole time. So and basically what this is, it's a variety of different roasted peppers, and it has eggplant in it, garlic. It's made into this pasty kind of, a little bit runnier than tomato paste. It's so delicious. I even add it to meatballs, like to the meat of the meatballs before I form them. It's so good. Next, we're going to do another layer of cabbage. And then you always need to buy a shoulder. I personally to this time bought a milk-fed veal shoulder. It doesn't matter if it's milk-fed or veal, but you do need a shoulder because we need that delicious marrow in that little bone right there. I bought this in 2023 and it was about $15 in Canada, so Canadian. And this will add that meat aspect to the dish. If you are non-meat in your home, then just omit it. It will still be absolutely delicious. It technically is vegan if you just don't put the meat in, so that's always great. A little bit of salt. This is to your own household's preference, how much salt you put. And then I do a little bit of pepper. My kids are good with salt and pepper, which is always great. Makes everything taste better. And then I do another layer of cabbage. On top, we're going to throw in the rest of our potatoes, the rest of our mise en place, I think it's called. But anyways, the rest of our veggies and flavors. Beautiful. That looks so good. This is also Crockpot friendly or InstaPot friendly. Just follow the exact same thing and let it cook. When you come home from work or in half an hour for the InstaPot, it'll be ready and just delicious. All right, next I do about a tablespoon of oil. I have canola today, but literally any oil that you have in your house will work. We just need a little bit to kind of, just makes it better. And then we're going to do our final layer of cabbage. I forgot, we need another layer of the Ajvar. Layering. All right, now we're going to do, this is my favorite brand. That's what I say there. It's my favorite brand. It is a bit sweet in hindsight. It's a little bit sweet if you put too much, but it's just delicious with meat, any sort of meat, any grilled meat. And Ajvar are just, meant to be together. They are a pair, a couple. And then we'll put the rest of our cabbage on top of that. And honestly, that's pretty well it. Now this is going to go on the stove and I cook it for about 4 hours on, you just want it slightly boiling. So I put the rest of my cabbage on and then we're going to fill it up with water until it touches the top of the cabbage. You can use broth as well, but I wanted you guys to see me pouring the water in. Made a little bit of a hot mess, but thankfully it's just water. And that's pretty well it. Like I was going to say, you can use broth, but it's just an extra cost that isn't necessary. All those flavors in that pot are going to make an absolutely delicious broth of its own. Not necessary. But if you have some that's coming close to its date or that you wanted to use up, have some in the fridge, you go right on ahead and throw it in there. It'll make it probably that much better. But for now, I'm going to fill it up with water, and you see the water just floating just where the cabbage is. That's exactly what we want. And it's going to go onto the stove. I do give it a little bit of a push to kind of, I don't know, I feel like it stirs everything around in there. Don't know if it actually does, but you see the water already turning that little bit of red that it gets from the Ajvar and all those peppers, and just fantastic. See you at the stove. Okay, so I brought it over to the stove. I'm just gonna put this lid on it. And then we're gonna go over to high and just until it boils. And then once it boils, I'm gonna turn it down to about a 4 and let it simmer. Okay, she's boiling, so I'm gonna turn it down. You just want it at like a low simmer, and I'm gonna, oh, Hank Hill there for you. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Let's wait for it to calm down. I'm actually gonna leave the lid on just like cracked open to let the steam out, and we're gonna let it cook for a few hours and we'll be back. But right now we're just gonna make a mess. Okay guys, it's been about 3 hours. I have to move it a little bit under 4 just to keep this from getting out of control. I just shut the fan off. So nice and soft. The potatoes are done, like super soft. And then I always like to pull the meat up. Just make sure that it literally like fork falls apart. See that? And you're done. That's it. And now I'm going to shut it off and just leave it here to kind of come to a normal temperature for a bit, maybe like half an hour, and then you're good to serve. I hope you guys enjoy this. My family loves it. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Okay guys, so it's been probably like half an hour since it finished cooking, and I shut it all down. I gave it a really good stir. I just forgot to mention that I take the meat completely out onto a plate, and then because some of these like have like the tenants and all this fat, and I just cut it up into pieces and throw it back in. So when I serve it, like every bowl will have some potatoes, some meat, some of everything. And like these are really, that's a really great size piece of meat. Anyway, that's it.